Now, a judge has given the Trump administration a big win on the fight of who will lead the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, yesterday, Judge Timothy Kelly denied a request by Leandra English, who was named last week as acting director of the outgoing CFPB chief Richard Cordray, for a temporary restraining order to block Mick Mulvaney from taking that post. Now, Kelly said that there was not a substantial likelihood that the case would succeed on its merits. So, basically, here comes Mick Mulvaney, now able to destroy the CFPB. So this continues a long tradition of the Trump administration of appointing people to positions for the sole purpose of destroying said position. They're doing it with the FCC. Now they're doing it with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So they're continuing that fine tradition. Now the White House, of course, is very, very happy about this. White House Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah said in a statement, quote, "The administration applauds the court's decision. It's time for the Democrats to stop enabling this brazen political stunt by a rogue employee and allowing Acting Director Mulvaney to continue the Bureau's smooth transition into an agency that truly serves to help consumers." President Trump also tweeted, "Just won the lawsuit on leadership of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, a big win for the consumer." Well, how? How is that a win for the consumer? See, Mulvaney, when he was in Congress, he voted to eliminate the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and he received gigantic campaign contributions from banks, credit card companies, and even payday lenders, all of which would be regulated by the CFPB. He has worked on behalf of those banks, which means that he's not going to be interested in working on behalf of you. Now, thankfully, the fight isn't quite over, even though I don't see much in the way of good coming from these decisions. According to Politico, while this ruling cannot be challenged, Deepak Gupta, English's lawyer, told reporters that he would have to consult with his client about the next steps. These could either involve seeking a preliminary injunction or requesting a ruling on a permanent injunction, either of which could be appealed to a higher court. He said the court is not the final stop. This judge does not have the final word on what happens in this controversy, and I think he understands that. But look, again, I don't have much faith in the higher courts, especially if this goes to the Supreme Court. I don't know how likely that will be, but look, the SCOTUS, well, for one, they could flat out refuse to hear it. Okay. Or worse, they could side with the Trump administration and, more importantly, the corporations who will be able to, without the CFPB, steal with impunity. Now, it's kind of like putting the robbers in charge of the police station. And look, the Supreme Court would likely, I think, side with the Trump administration because, again, you have the most corporate-backed court in history. They've sided with corporations more than any other Supreme Court that we've ever had. These people are bought and paid for by the companies. Now, as I explained to you a couple of days ago, English's claim to the title of the CFPB acting director stems in part from language in Dodd-Frank. Now, the legislation that established the Bureau in the first place. It says that the deputy director shall become the acting director in the absence or unavailability of the director. Well, Richard Cordray, he stepped down. He immediately named her the deputy director. She was the chief of staff. And he's like, okay, now you're taking over. Well, that seems fairly clear, right? Now, the Justice Department does not agree and said late Monday night that English's claim is not strong enough to supersede the purview of the Vacancies Reform Act, which empowers the president to fill a vacancy at an executive agency. Now, the judge ruled on its face the VRA does appear to apply in this situation. Now, Politico explains that specific laws generally supersede more general laws. So the more specific you are, I guess the better chance you have at superseding a law that is less specific. Now, Kelly said that while Dodd-Frank is more specifically related to the CFPB, and it would be, since this is the law that created the CFPB, He said the vacancies law is more specific in that it explicitly refers to a vacancy. Dodd-Frank does not use that word. What it says is that the deputy director shall become the acting director in the absence or unavailability of the director. But since it does not mention the word vacancy, well, look at that. Trump gets to make his pick. I think it's really all up to interpretation at this point. So, but here's the thing. This judge is a Trump appointee. So, big surprise. You have a pro-corporate ruling from a pro-corporate judge who just didn't like Dodd-Frank. So, big surprise, right? It's funny how this whole thing turned out. But look, in the end, Trump gets his win. The banks get their win, and the consumers will suffer. So, the next time a bank decides to rob you, like Wells Fargo has been caught doing by the CFPB and punished by the CFPB, there will not be anyone there to protect you if Mick Mulvaney has his way. Do you still feel like you're winning? Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.